Hello everyone, this is Ashish. Welcome back to Talk 4712. This is a special video. It really is. It's not something that I do every now and then. This is something that I do within years of me developing something or having a career change or a career decision. I'm going to finally talk about what I've been doing ever since I left ISRO. And this is one of those videos. The last one of this kind that I made was, I think, February 2020, after I left Indian Space Research Organization. And ever since, a lot of you guys have been asking me, like, what have you been doing? The questions increased to the next level when you guys saw that I'm in America now. There were speculations. You're working in XYZ company. You are doing a PhD. Funny enough, a lot of that is true to some extent, and I'm going to explain one by one. It's going to be a lot to unpack the 6 years of all the things that I've done and where I am right now, which is the most important part, and also why I decided not to talk about it. In short, I will repeat one of the old ideas or philosophies that I've spoken about before as well, that when the building is under construction, there are screens around and you only let people see it once it is all said and done. I have used the same philosophy when I was working preparing for Indian Space Research Organization. The OG fans know that I had a YouTube channel before I became a scientist at ISRO. So when I was a scientific officer at Department of Atomic Energy, I was already helping people, guiding people about competitive examination and career in mechanical engineering. But I never spoke about my ambitions or pursuit or appearance in ISRO examinations 3 times unless I actually went ahead, resigned from Department of Atomic Energy and joined Indian Space Research Organization. So yeah, YouTube is cool and all, but I don't want to be that vlogger that vlogs about everything he does every day. So I think a little bit of gap of update is all fine. Let me get straight into it, because if I can make you wait for like 3-4 years, better not waste your time anymore. I'm going to get started straight from 2022 when I got to America. I think before that things were pretty clear. I was doing educational programs, consultancy, and making educational content on this YouTube channel, amongst other things. But most of the things were open. I was working on a book which got published in late 2023. Yeah, 2023. And things are clear. But after 2022, I've never talked about it. And that's what I'm going to do today. You guys deserve to know it. And finally, it's out. So 2022, I joined a master's program in University of California, Riverside, a MS degree in mechanical engineering. I initially applied for PhD programs all across America, and I think I was shooting a little high, and I was shooting a little high for good reasons. This dude is scientific officer in Department of Atomic Energy, at least was, and scientist at Indian Space Research Organization. So good research pedigree and outstanding performance in undergraduation, GPA and all. So I was like, yes, I can get a PhD, applied for MIT, Caltech. Well, think about all the top universities, right? UC Berkeley and all. And I applied in total 11 university, got accepted from 0 university. And those were like eye-opening moment, like, okay, the things that you have achieved is like not really a big deal on the other side of the planet, and people don't really care much, to be precise. And so the good thing that happened is one of the universities that I applied for PhD in was University of California, Riverside, who did not accept me as a PhD student, but ended up converting my application from PhD to master's, which was good because otherwise I would have done the same in my next series of applications next year. That would be 2023, but they converted into masters, and I said that let's get started. This is kind of my idea always, like, get on with your education. Don't care much about the university you do it from. It matters more of how you do that education, how much you learn over there. But I was always interested in research. So first quarter itself, which was fall 2022, I started working with a professor. And this is when I started to understand how America actually works. They don't always look at medals and accomplishments, unlike what we do a lot in India. They actually observe you, look at your work, and see how you actually do. So I did well, and within, I think, a month or so, I was offered a PhD program under the same professor. So as you know, that I already had that ambition. So I said that, yeah, that works. I was liking the research as well, good amount of application. I was doing a lot of stuff related to data analysis in fluid mechanics, and I loved what I did and wanted to pursue a PhD. So that's what I wanted to do long term. Like, I would complete a PhD, and I still remember at that point I was seeing myself as someone who would become a professor. You laugh at me when you hear what happens next. So I was thinking, like, I'm going to complete a PhD, maybe do a postdoc, I'll become a professor in some university. I like the whole academia pathway. So long story short, 3 quarters later, I was like, man, I don't think PhD is the best thing for me. And if you've been following me for a long time, say from my BARC days or my ISRO days, you know, this dude just freaking tries something and then just changes his mind. And that's what happened over here too. But I could have made a video like this like 2 years ago, and that could have been a separate video, like why I left PhD. But maybe I can explain in more detail some other time. I thought that I would better fit in industry, and it is much better to get more industrial experience right now, even though at one point when I was 25, I thought that I'm not going to get a job anymore. So that's why, like, yeah, when you're young, you're thinking the world works certain way, and then you grow up and learn more, then you learn some more. So I went ahead, I got a job. It's a Silicon Valley EV startup called Lucid. They're barely a startup anymore. They're on to releasing their 3rd vehicle now, and this is the vehicle I got to work on along with the 2nd vehicle in my first few months in Lucid. That was Lucid Gravity. I worked over there for over 2 years, so I got to learn a lot about vehicles and how the different systems work together, and it intrigued me a lot. Like, rocket science is cool. I still say rocket science would be cooler than automotive engineering, comparing the two technology. But automotive engineering, the good part is that you own a car and you can actually drive your car. You can't really fly your rocket in most cases. So I like that part. Like, I could tune my car, I could change a wheel or change tires or add a strut base or change suspension, and I could see what are the changes. And I really enjoyed that as a mechanical engineer, basically. So what I started doing is, like, I started looking into data that comes up from the vehicle. And this is where, like, my little experience with data analysis while pursuing PhD or research in UC Riverside came into picture. Like, oh, I got an idea. Okay, there's data and you can make meaningful outputs or reasons out of it. So I started analyzing the data out of my car, and every time I would drive, I would do that. I don't want to get into much detail, but my routine looked like this. I used to live 10 minutes away from my workplace, but also every weekend I would drive 600 miles. So I studied in Southern California, and I lived over there for like close to 2 years. So I made a lot of friends over there. So I would know a lot of people over there. And then I started working in Bay Area, that is Northern California. It's technically the middle of California, but people call it Northern California. So what I would do is, like, I would drive down south on Fridays and drive up north on Sundays. And that would be my routine. So I would drive approximately like 700 miles every week. And eventually I got so much into car, like I decided to get like a sports car, but also something that is affordable, reasonable, and like the smartest car you can think of is Mazda Miata. And that's what I got. I mean, of course, Porsche guys will come after me over here, but that's what I thought. Got a Miata, started working on my car. And I mean, you have to really drive that car to understand what a crazy deal it is to drive 600 miles every week in that car, that too a manual car. I did that, but the reason I did that is because I loved understanding the vehicle, and I would log data every day. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I eventually came to an idea or a product, and that's where I am right now. I think I did in good amount of time to explain all the 6 years. So that's where I am right now. I recently got Raste Incorporated. I should say we are 3 co-founders, and the idea is that we can take out the raw data from the vehicle, which is readily available and available to every driver or owner of any car, and make sense out of it. And in that comes data analysis, machine learning, artificial intelligence, all of that. But idea is that I'm going to convert this raw data into meaningful output and guidance about the vehicle health and driving behavior and how those two are interrelated, and show or help out people who might have zero idea about vehicles but still own vehicle or vehicles. And this software or intelligent platform should be able to guide them that, hey, this is how you should go about with your maintenance, not exactly the thumb rule. Because what I was seeing in the industry ever since I first owned a car is that there's so much intelligence that comes from data, and this is partly something that I learned from my experience at Indian Space Research Organization as well, that there's so much that you can learn out of data, but ultimately, unless you process it or analyze it, it goes to waste. And when I saw automotive industry and how car ownership is, at least in America, in India as well, is that there's always a thumb rule. Hey, change oil at 3,000 miles or 5,000 miles, or change spark plugs at 40,000 miles, and change tires at this many miles. When in reality, you can have different ways of utilizing your vehicle. You can be driving on highways and city and heavy traffic city. You can be using your vehicle on track. You can be using your vehicle or abusing your vehicle, and it all ultimately should influence how you're maintaining your vehicle. And the worst part we found, and this is what we found in commercial fleets, is that there are a lot of loss in profit or money that could have been saved that is lost by fleet owners because they have like sudden breakdowns. And these sudden breakdowns can definitely be predicted. I always say this, like, if you can predict the weather 1 week in advance, you have all the data from your car every time you're driving your car. Why can't you predict if your vehicle is going to break down or not? At least why don't we start working on that? This could have been done, say, 5 years ago as well. But now with the addition of LLM or artificial intelligence, the idea is that you can actually process it, have meaningful output, and then explain it to someone who's a layman or does not care about understanding how a vehicle works, but also drives a car, so is influenced by the whole experience of mechanical engineering going on inside the car. And so that person gets to learn or know what is the right step, instead of just going to a service center and the service center saying that do this, pay this much, and you're like, I don't know better, so this is what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pay out. So that's the whole idea. And so what I'm doing right now is that I'm a full-time chief technical officer of the company Raste. Now, again, coming back to what about this career decision, right? So if you look at my career, I started right out of college after a year of preparing for competitive examination, got the safest job on the planet. This is a Group A gazetted officer post, level 10 pay metrics, central government job, right? And that is Department of Atomic Energy, scientific officer post. I went out there, risked it all, and prepared for competitive examinations anyway, and got another super safe job and highly rewarding job too. So I have like a job which really quenches the thirst a mechanical engineer has for knowledge and working for cutting edge technology. That is Indian Space Research Organization, again, central government job, gazetted officer, same, all Group A level 10 pay metrics. And then I'll leave that without any other job or option. I just leave it to explore what I want to do with my life. Then I make some good amount of money and then invest it all into getting a higher education at got a PhD offer too, but I left PhD, and then I got a job in Silicon Valley. And then I decided to not pursue that corporate career anymore and start my own company. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I moved from the safest career possible to the most dangerous career possible. So I totally accept and agree that starting your own company is risky. It's like the founders take the maximum amount of risk, and the odds of things going bad is insane. And that compared to odds of things going bad with your job at a government job, central government job in India, is like, you can see what's going on, right? There's a huge amount of difference. But that's what I chose. And if you go back and listen to my talk at that video why I left ISRO, I've said this before as well, like, I try to lead by example. I take bold decisions and I take risks. And the whole idea is that, and you'll see this written in my book, The Boy Who Did Not Sign, over and over again, that I'll see it through. So I think I'm haunted by the question of what if? What if you try, and what if this could actually work out? And I am, I think, one of those people who find much more comfort in trying and giving the absolute best and losing. Like, it might even end up me losing, but I still will find myself much more comfortable. Like when I was doing this whole corporate cycle, like a Bay Area, working in a Bay Area startup and all, I felt like I'm one of those rat in a maze, like doing the circle every day, and I'm doing the same thing. And many of you guys might be in that, and so you might be able to feel me better. But I was dissatisfied. I was similarly dissatisfied when I was doing my PhD as well, and I was dissatisfied when I was working in BARC. I was dissatisfied when I was working at ISRO. You might be one of those guys who might just say that, Ashish, you're just dissatisfied in general. But I eventually got bored of it in all of those places. Like initially I loved it a lot, and what I felt eventually, which led me to take up my own startup, would be like, let's try this. Because I think what the problem that is going on might be that I have an issue with not being able to lead the product 100%. And this is why I say I was able to get to this conclusion, because I was doing this YouTube content creation and educational content, guiding students and working professional in their career for like 2 years or so after I left ISRO, and I did it full time, meaning that I did not have any other job. I was controlling everything, right? I got my YouTube channel from, I think, 70,000 subscribers to somewhere around 200,000 subscribers. And I loved doing it. A lot of people kept saying that you'll regret that you left ISRO, about which I might give some comments later. Many people said that, but I enjoyed that because I had the freedom to lead the product, to lead a team, and I enjoyed that. But when I got into, say, masters and PhD, research led by a lab, or a product that is fascinating, but also you have little influence on how you lead the product, there are hundreds and hundreds of people working on it. And when I was on the side gig working on my own product and like working with the technology, I was like, I like that way more, that I'm having that freedom to lead. The way that I saw it is that, of course, you work in Silicon Valley for like 2 years or so, you're pretty much in a good state financially. What I saw was that this is the first time I'm getting an opportunity to do engineering on my own. This is the first time I'm getting an opportunity to lead my own product, get to the customer, solve problems. And there was just no way I couldn't have grasped or grabbed that opportunity. It's just the kind of mindset I have. And of course, I mean, there would be so many different pathways which would give me more financial freedom in the long run, more safety, a better career, all those things, right? There's so many people who climb the ladder in Silicon Valley, right? The greatest example would be Sundar Pichai. but that's just not how I saw myself. And I wanted to do it right now. And so I did it. Again, coming back to that one thing that I left out, leaving ISRO, I have never ever regretted it for a second. People don't understand it. ISRO taught me a lot, it gave me a lot, but once I had gotten all that knowledge and understanding, it was so critical to move forward. It was so important that actually I couldn't be prouder of myself to be able to take that decision. Because right now I'm 32 years old, and when I took that decision, I was just 25 years old. So if you look at like an Indian guy from a small town, Ranchi, Jharkhand, who grew up in a household where my father was a government employee for like 35 straight years, all his life, and I grew up in colony or society where everybody is a government employee, everybody pursues IITs, everybody pursues government jobs, and still being able to make that decision at the age of 25, where people just thought that I've lost my mind. People think that I've lost my mind right now as well, by the way. That has been happening many times, but I'm just proud of myself that I was able to take that decision, because if I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be right now, and I absolutely enjoy what I'm doing right now. So that's it, man. It's like a one take, one shot. I just wanted to sit down over here, talk to you guys. Thank you so much for waiting around, because I have gotten thousands and thousands of comments down in the comment section, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, like, what are you doing right now? And this is exactly what I have been doing so far, and this is what I'm doing right now. Again, coming to that topic of like building under construction, the reason I did not wanted to talk about this is because I had not made up my mind as well. Like, I was at one point doing my PhD, but also having other ambitions, and I'm like, I'm missing something. Like, I might not know what I want to do, but I'm missing something, and this is not it. And then when I got a job, and if you're in America as a student, then you have visa issues, you have financial issues, because it's so expensive living over here. So naturally that took me to a job, and I was having a job, but still I was not able to say proudly like, this is what I wanted to do. And eventually it got clearer and clearer, but things were not done yet. I did not have a company yet, and I did not have a product yet, but now I have it all. And so I'm talking about it. If you are interested to know more about Raste and what we are doing over there, I think it's great what we are doing over here. I think it's going to be a great boon in the industry. Everybody who owns vehicles, we are basically giving you a mechanic or an automotive engineer with say 30 plus years of experience by your side, who understands your vehicle better than a lot of times what even mechanic would be able to understand, inspecting your vehicle for just like say 20 minutes or an hour or so. Because what we are trying to do is like every operational data is processed. We understand that. Hey, and if you're interested in something like this, we are open right now and hiring. So go down to our website and look for open positions. But above all, I want to say thanks a lot to you guys for the support that you have shown throughout the years. And other than that, I'm going to continue on making videos. Matter of fact, I'm going to continue making on more and more videos now, because now you understand why the frequency of videos were so low, like one podcast a month or 3. But now I can increase the frequency. Second, a lot of you guys have been waiting for the book, the next version of the book, or the sequel. That's coming up. I'm in 11 draft right now. I'm going to actually talk about it more in detail in a separate dedicated video, because a lot of you guys have been asking me about that. And that's about it. Thank you for listening. Any questions you have about me, what I'm doing right now, anything that I left out, put it down in the comment section. I'm happy to discuss all of it. Like, I have absolutely no problem. I had no problem discussing it before as well. It has been out there in my LinkedIn for a long time, and many people know about it. But the content that is on the YouTube channel, as far as that goes, this is me finally discussing about everything that happened and everything that I'm doing right now. So put your comments down in the comment section. you're most welcome. And I'm going to see you all in the next one. Till then, bye.